Okay, I just want to talk, so we're just gonna talk, and I'm going to post this, and I'm gonna also finish eating my snack. I have like a little bit of a date coconut ball left, and this Kind Protein Max, a raspberry bar, which I saw at Target, and they were like on sale for $8 for 4, or like $9 for 4, which is crazy. But I need to try the protein bars, that way I can recreate them myself, and make them better, because that's my mission in life, basically. And I've always loved bars, and I've always loved nutritious food, and this is like magic to me. So anyways, we're gonna talk for a little. About some notes I've taken. Cartoons, philosophy, friendship. Yesterday on my walk through Times Square to 87th Street, I was thinking about how I was listening at first to a podcast about Kierkegaard, and the idea that once one has established their set of values, the mission is to learn from, well, nature, like the lilies of the valley. They do not think about their role in society. They do not compare themselves to other flowers. They are just flowers performing their role of flowers. And I guess it's not even a performance, because there's, as far as I'm aware, not conscious effort going into maintaining this role of being a flower, of making sure that other people know that they are a flower. It's not performative in that sense. They're just existing as a flower. So once one has established what one is, once one has gone through the questioning and the deconstructing phase, then the role of obedience, and, like, in other words, and I believe this is Lacanian, having fidelity to one's desire. Julian, I'm gonna tag you, correct me if I am wrong in any of this. Having fidelity to one's desire, that commitment to the goal. Wait, I'm gonna go back, and I said, Julian, correct me if I'm wrong in any of this. I'm not wrong in my thinking. That's not what I'm saying, like wrong in an objective way in my thinking. I mean, like, if my references are wrong, I don't want to share incorrect sources. That said, the goal of philosophy is, from my perspective, is to free us. The goal of philosophy is to present new perspectives that allow us to navigate our lives with more joy and ease. Brittany Simons always says, good philosophy should free you, not trap you. And that's kind of, I borrow from that a little bit, just like they borrow from other people. I don't know, she, they, I don't know. Anyways, once you know what one is, you simply exist as that thing. Once one has decided that they are waking up at 6 a.m. for the next week, that is simply how one exists. And temptation can come in, and, distractions can come in, but if you think about something like an arbitrary goal, like waking up at 6 a.m. for the next week, and of course, if you have this rooted in your values and meaning, it's not going to be arbitrary to you, but on surface level, me saying waking up at 6 every morning for a week is an arbitrary goal, if that makes sense. So once you have set that, you become that, you embody that, you are waking up at 6 a.m. in the same way that a lily is a lily, if that makes sense. Which brings me to My Little Pony. All of the ponies in My Little Pony have a cutie mark. They go through this initial phase of discovering who the heck they are, what is their role in the world. Now, I will say it's been years since I've watched the entire series, beginning to end, of Friendship is Magic, but I rewatched it religiously growing up, so I'm going off of that memory. Again, if my memory is wrong, I trust that those well-informed my roommate, if you're watching this, go ahead and correct me on anything I get wrong. Anyways, once they go through the process of discovering who the heck they are and their cutie mark is revealed to them, that is simply their role. It's not like they're not ponies anymore. It's not like they don't have adventures of their own anymore. But like, rarity makes clothes. Applejack loves working on the farm. Once they discover what that they love, they have fidelity to that. I don't know if there's ever a point, and I'd be curious to know if the series ever explores what happens when one pony's cutie mark changes, if that can happen, or if one begins to doubt their cutie mark. I know there's the episode where the cutie marks switch, which could be dissected in a completely different video podcast. I don't know what to call this. It's a chat between you and me. But yeah, I bring this up to tie it back into society, because everything that we create in My Little Pony is a show that was created by us humans, is a reflection of society and the way that we organize ourselves and consider our lives. So what does it say? To put it into Kierkegaard's kind of framework, it is kind of Kierkegaardian, if that's what you want to call it. The idea that an individual will go through this initial phase of self-discovery. And yeah, it's influenced by family, what you grew up with. Like, Applejack grew up with a bunch of other apple people. Is their last name Apple? Anyways. Applejack grew up around a bunch of other apple people, and still her cutie mark ended up being apples. I hope I'm making sense. I don't know like the technical terms, but also we're talking about My Little Pony here. And it's not that serious. Philosophy is serious, but not that serious, because life is serious, but not that serious. It's just fun. And like, whereas Pinkie Pie, grew up around, I don't know, rock people that like got their lust from life by being a drag. And she just couldn't. So yeah, there's that initial period where you're like comparing yourself to your family. That's where that comparison comes in. I said lilies don't compare themselves to other flowers. They're just lilies. Humans, on the other hand, must compare themselves to the people that they grew up around, the society that they're in. We must engage in the act of comparison in order to know what our values are. And that's reflected in the My Little Pony phase of the kids discovering who they are. And once they discover that, then they enter the next phase in kind of this Kierkegaard's framework. Now, I will say, I'm not like a hardcore Kierkegaard scholar or a hardcore Kierkegaard fangirl, simply because I don't think I've engaged with his philosophy enough, but I am engaging with it now. So I welcome you to critique and help me learn. Anyways, yeah, then it's almost like they're like in Kierkegaard's utopia, where they just enact that. They have their own problems and whatnot, but they have this thing that grounds them, that roots them in themselves. So, when I was little, I would try to design cutie marks for all of my classmates and wait for them to discover what their cutie mark was, and then hand them out my own little like sticker, hand-drawn sticker that I made for them, and let them wear it in some kind of attempt to instill that same kind of grounding within them, that even if they lose track of life, they still have this thing that is theirs, if that makes sense. Which I also realize is kind of beside the point, because I was trying to be the person to observe what it was that was innate about a person's value set as a child, trying rather than, because it's an individual's responsibility to determine that and assert that and live that for themselves, I believe. And so kind of funny, but is there a way that we can do that for ourselves? Like that I can now as an adult stop getting in my way of by constantly questioning and critiquing and existing up here all the time, and start existing here. And I say start, but it's a constant process of starting. Every single moment, every single present is the constant process of starting. I have started before, and I'm just going to start again and again and again. And there will come a time where questions may be necessary. Something doesn't work out. And maybe we'll explore what that line is in another time. But right now, I guess the purpose of what I want to get across is, do you have something that you keep coming back to time and time again, regardless of what's going on outside of you, regardless of the physical circumstances that you're in? Like maybe you've lost your house, maybe you're not in a financially stable position, maybe your family is going through a tough time. Is there some part of you can hold on to despite that? You know, this is the value that religious frameworks offer to people. Or again, I forget which philosopher it is, but the concept of the fantasy framework. I have my laptop right here. I'm going to try not to do this frequently, but I want to see who fantasy framework, who developed this. Who developed the fantasy framework? Counseling concept, Stringer? Philosophy. Anyways, this, is it Lacan? Oh, is it Gizet? I forget how to pronounce his name. But yeah, this idea. The cutie mark is a form of fantasy framework for the individual, basically. Right? The cutie mark is an ideology for the individual. The cutie mark is an individual religion. Except for, whereas religion like unites multiple people over this shared, let's say cutie mark, right? So that like a religion has a cutie mark. Like the cross, you could say, is the cutie mark of Christianity, or the symbol, God, I gotta get into my historical symbolism. The hammer with the crescent is like the cutie mark of communism. It's all symbols. It's all symbols. What is your symbol? Do you have a symbol? Can you design a symbol for yourself? And this isn't something that will happen, that you'll find. I don't think it's something that you'll find by thinking about it harder. It's something that comes through observation, through that discernment. Like you observe, discern, and now I'm speaking from my experience and the stories I've heard of other people, but there's just something that makes you feel lighter, something that fills your soul. Fills your soul? How can I express this in other words? That you could say feels like home. Just feels like the best, most stable foundation for you. You're going to know your own words for this. You're going to know your own language for this. Maybe you don't know your language yet, but like you're going to discover it. And you'll discover that symbolism. And I would love, if you feel like you know and you feel like you're connected to that, if you could draw it out in the form of a cutie mark. That would be so fun. And again, the goal of this is fun. It's a creative exercise. Life is a creative exercise. And if I don't intend to place any pressure on you. Pressure is for these things in life that we don't have control over. and that we have to do. And philosophy, all of these ideas are the nourishment to give us the energy to deal with that pressure, not to add to the pressure. So I guess that's kind of like, I feel like we're at 15 minutes, so that's like a good stopping point for today. I'm gonna actually eat my snack now so that I can be even more nourished. I'm pretty well nourished, but like I'm kind of peckish. And I made a promise to my nutritionist. So, shout out to Miles if you watch this. Now I don't have to message you as lengthily because I have another outlet for my thoughts. But I don't know if I can ever have enough outlets for my thoughts. Please, if you have suggestions, leave them in the comments. Everybody always has suggestions, like a blog, like YouTube. And sometimes I tell myself I should just be quiet. But I can be quiet sometimes. Anyways, enough about me. I conduct tarot readings. Oh God, now I'm just talking about me again, but like in another context. I conduct tarot readings and astrology readings, and that's another outlet for me that takes a lot of energy, and I've put a lot of time and effort studying, and the people that I've been able to connect with, it's been a lovely, lovely experience. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and shoot me a DM on Instagram. It's the.maraverse. I also have an email, ask.the.maraverse@gmail.com. You can donate to me, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Wise, or if you're in New York, stop by in person hit me up. We can do a meeting in person. You can get me a treat for a little tarot reading. That's all I got for you. I love you so, so much. Please converse with me. I love hearing your thoughts. And have a lovely, lovely afternoon. Bye.